the border between the United States and Mexico. It stretches some 2,000 miles from the southern tip of Texas to New Mexico, up Rio Grande, across California to the Pacific Ocean. Some form of barrier covers 650 miles, and these areas have the most border crossings. The first real border wall was commissioned in 1993 by President Bill Clinton. It was 13 miles long and placed in between San Diego and Tijuana. When NAFTA was passed in 1994, a new surge of immigration hit the U.S. as migrant farm workers flocked to the most profitable areas. In 1996, President Clinton signed the Illegal Immigration Reform and Responsibility Act, which approved funding for more border patrol and more fences. 10 years later, in 2006, President Bush signed the Secure Fences Act. It promised 700 miles of fencing and a virtual border across the rest, which was composed of infrared sensors and cameras. With the Department of Homeland Security's support, Obama cut funding in 2011 for the virtual wall that had cost $1 billion for 53 miles of coverage. Today, about 650 miles of the 2,000-mile border are currently fenced, leaving 1,350 miles open. Half of the fencing is designed to stop vehicles, and the other half is made to stop pedestrians. Most of the fencing is built on federally owned land or private property seizures, leaving large gaps where the landscape or private landowners prevent it. The Rio Grande Valley is the easternmost section of the U.S. and Mexican border. It has almost 3.5 times the border apprehensions of the second most popular section, Tucson. Both sections of the border are mostly barriered, but still have the most illegal crossings according to Customs and Border Protection. It's because they're mostly lush farmland, are close to urban areas, relatively accessible, and have traversable terrain, i.e., they're not in the middle of a desert mountain range. The least common, like the Big Bend and Del Rio sections, are tiny fractions of apprehensions compared to Rio Grande. While the Mexican border is front and center in politics and the press, it's not the most common method of illegal immigration. Visa overstays were double the rate of apprehended border crossings in 2017. Of course, it's easier to count the number of visa holders who didn't exit the country when they're documented than it is to count how many people physically crossed the border, whether it was in more frequent areas or in the Sonoran Desert. If you want to read more about this, we recommend checking out NPR's article breaking down the DHS's yearly entry-exit overstay report, which is linked in the description box below. Thanks for watching, throw us a like, click subscribe, and don't forget to ring the bell for post notifications.